Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, and the fully enlightened One. May the blessings of the Triple Gem be upon you all, friends in the Dhamma. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how the Buddha's omniscient power and the karma, especially the wholesome karma of the Buddha's life, came to give its due results. That is my topic. This is very important topic for every one of us. During this time of listening to this Dhamma, based upon this mentioned topic, may your mind be not disturbed and obsessed by defilements, disturbed in thoughts. May your mind be full of faith and enthusiasm and energized by the noble qualities of the Buddha, noble virtues of the Buddha and Dhamma and Sangha. Listening to the Dhamma portion based upon this topic, may you all be able to develop faith, concentration, and clear wisdom in your mind. And ultimately, may you all be able to realize the noble truths, Four Noble Truths, and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. That is my sincere and soul wish for every one of you. Today's Dhamma topic, as I mentioned to you, is very important. Kamma and the Buddha's omniscient power. This is purely described under the topic and list of the 10 powers of the Tathagata, which means in Pali, Dasa Tathagata Bala, 10 powers of the Buddha. It's not just physical powers and energy, but mental energy, mental power, knowledge, wisdom power. Sometimes people cannot understand how the Buddha's wisdom power played its important role, and also how the Buddha just encountered and enjoyed the Buddha's own karmic, wholesome karmic good results in this life, in this very life. The Buddha appeared to the world as a glorious, prosperous, and noble saint. It was famous and spread all around the world at that time. Therefore, this differentiation should be understood. We should understand these two differences. How that Buddha's knowledge and power and beauty came to play its role, and how the Buddha enjoyed his previous wholesome karmic results in this last birth. So the Buddha once, just before descending to the topic, we can see the ground of this topic. During the time of the Buddha, once the Buddha was living in Rajagir, Rajagha, in the very peaceful, famous monastery and vihara devotedly offered, faithfully offered to the Buddha and Sangha by the faithful king Bimbisara. So, when the Buddha was living there with monks, the next door, which means the next kingdom, because King Bimbisara ruled the kingdom of Magadha. The next door or next kingdom and state towards the Vaisalis, Lichavi's kingdom. It is located the other shore of the Ganges River. So, Lichavi kingdom, that Vaisali was famous, prosperous, wealthy, and they had a lot of treasures. Very healthy people. They enjoyed their life because it's a prosperous country. So at that time, the Buddha was living down in the Bimbisara's kingdom, that is Magadha. Something unfortunate happened, as we heard from Dhamma books and from the Dhamma talks. Something unfortunate, miserable happened to the Lichavins. It was not all of a sudden. It took some time. Firstly, it stopped raining. And also their crops, farmings, and cultivation, everything was destroyed. Then they had the huge food shortage. Sometimes the destitute poor people could not find a meal. It was horrible at that time. And they could not find food from other countries. It's not like today. So then the first one was it's a plague. The plague of disease and famine and also evil spirits. These three came in order. The first, they had shortage of food, and because of that they got sick. And in the same time, the spirits got closer to the kingdom because the people died. Then it's like today, because coronavirus infected people, and also they died. I think you watched and you saw in YouTube and in news how people suffered a lot, mainly in India and Italy and Spain and Sri Lanka. And it was horrible the recent time, the last year, the recent time in India. How many hundreds of thousands of people and corpses were not buried, but burned and cremated. So similar thing happened in that time in Vaisali. Because of that corpse smell, the evil spirits, bhutas, just got to that cities and villages, and also they just make people get sick. Again, you see, within a few days, few weeks, a lot of people died. It was horrible things. People got shocked and they get their minds and body and everything, the culture was shaken. Then the people just went to the kings and also complained. about the famine, about diseases, about the corpses, and also especially these three kinds of plagues. At that time, according to the Dhamma books, especially Vinaya and Sutras of the Buddha's teaching, it is like the Lichavins, they all were like this kind of socialized, social kind of ruling. There were 7,707 princes to govern the country. It's like today's you can say that communist kind of communist parties. And however, from time to time, seven kings or princes are given a chance and a responsibility to govern the country. They should behave nicely, righteously, and the people had some idea if the kings are not righteous and they don't behave in righteous way in accordance with the spirituality and dhamma and the rules, then something bad and horrible may come to the kingdom and villages and cities to destroy the countrymen. That sort of big idea and a huge concept they had. So the country people thought to themselves that these horrible plagues and famine and things have come due to the reason that our governors and princes and kings they are not right. They are not in the right just part. So having these idea thoughts to themselves, they went to the king and they complained. Then they also got frightened because the governing kings and the princes at that time, they got shocked that they are going to be criticized and accused by the countrymen. Maybe it is to be punished. So they just asked, and also there was a congregation and there was a big meeting. So in that meeting, the ruling princes and the governors, they told, if you just find anything mistake, any faults of ours, and in governing the country, and also there's a committee there, there's a board people, the members of the board to just check it, and also they found no faults of the kings, and they just behave righteous. So then, at that time, there were very famous and well-known, reputed teachers. They are spiritual teachers, spiritual guides, like Nigantanatha Putta, Ajita Kambale, and these six kinds of six teachers were famous. And also, the people were divided into six. Some people followed Nigantanatha's teaching, while others followed Ajita Kambala's guides. And the same time, another group followed someone else's. In this way, even though they just live in one country, in one village, in one suburb, they just divided in spiritual practices. So everyone was interested to take one of the teachers at one time to just bless the country and to regain the peace, because they are undergoing much suffering and miserable things at that time. And those who are in favor of Nigantanatha, they just told the king, it would be good, we can go to invite Nigantanatha, Putta, the teacher, and also just we can do some rituals in order to just get rid of this famine and this evil spirits involvement and that kind of thing. They did everything what they could, but everything was failed. Then there was one of the Lichavins. He was called Mahali, and he is a friend of King Bimbisara. He suggested, King, this is my proposal. The Buddha appeared to the world. The Buddha Gautama is powerful. The Buddha Gautama possessed of noble qualities, possessed of virtues, noble virtues, possessed of the Buddha possesses of spiritual powers and psychic abilities. Therefore, it would be good for us to invite the great Buddha, Supreme Buddha, to this kingdom. So then they immediately arranged a group of devoted people, followed Buddhism at that time. Then they went to Magadha kingdom. So it was about 8 leagues, which means 8 yojanas from Vaisali to Rajagir, where the Buddha lived at that time. Buddha lived in Veluvana monastery of the Magadha kingdom in Rajagir. Some of our friends and also Dhamma devotees today have gone and traveled to those places. Some of our Dhamma friends went to India and Rajagir and these places with me as well a few years ago. I can remember it. So the group of people just faithfully went to Rajagir, and first they met the King Bimbisara, and they just declared and mentioned the disaster and also the horrific things and the famine they had in Lichavi kingdom. And also they just mentioned that they came from Lichavi kingdom to Magadha kingdom in order to invite the great Supreme Buddha to make a visit to the Vaisali. So the king did not interrupt. He was happy, and also he asked the group of people from Lichavi to go to the Buddha in Veluvana monastery. After that, they went there. So Buddha's the service ground to the world is compassion. The Buddha mentally standing on the compassionate ground. And also the Buddha wisely serves the country, the people, devas, human beings, Brahmans, and so on. Not only focusing on people and living beings in this world system, the Buddha traveled from time to time to other world systems as well, just to help them, because Buddha had such psychic abilities to travel in space and sky. So the Buddha received the invitation from these Lichavis, the Mahali and other people. So then the king arranged the tour for the Buddha. Firstly, King Bimbisara had 5 leagues from Rajagir to Ganges. 5 leagues. And from Ganges to Lichavi, Vaisali, there were 3 leagues. That's how the road was there. So it is King Bimbisara's responsibility to just arrange the road for the Buddha to just travel from Rajagir to Vaisali. So King Bimbisara made caused country people to just clear the road and arrange the paths and road. So it was huge decoration. So beautifully decorated, flowers, canopies, and also flags, banners, and umbrellas. And not only the Buddha traveled from Rajagiri to Vaisali, there was a group of 500 monks there to follow the Buddha. And the king and country people arranged each and every monk one single umbrella and a shade and canopies. And also each lake, the king Bimbisara arranged and built and erected a huge hole, like resting place. Because in one single day, the Buddha and the other venerable monks cannot travel and just on foot, cannot travel from Rajagiri to Ganges or Licchavi and Vaisali. Everything was set up. Some people just went to see the decoration and also how beautifully the Buddha was traveling. Because the Buddha had the Buddha walks in just like an elephant walk in a certain rhythmic way. People like to see it. I believe that any one of you today must have not seen such a walk of one single person. Today, I seen in my life, I have seen one monk in the forest tradition in Sri Lanka. He is a very big monk. He was the only monk. He passed away a few years ago. He was the only monk I have ever seen that he could walk it's a rhythmic and elephantary way. It's like an elephant. Like an elephant, he can walk smoothly, not in a hurry, but peaceful walk. Buddha's walk is 100% and 1,000% better than that. So people went to see how Buddha walked, and monks followed the Buddha. It was quite splendid and huge decoration. So in few days time, the Buddha traveled to the Ganges. And after the Ganges, the Ganga river, it was not the kingdom belonged to Magadha. So the king also followed the Buddha and stopped there. Then the Licchavis welcomed the Buddha. And between the Licchavi kingdom and also Magadha kingdom, that is the border is the Ganges. To cross the Ganges, the Ganga river, they arranged a kind of ship-like decorated things. We can say today like ferry types of things. It's a ship. So 500 monks, not only one, arranged everything for the Buddha and monks. So the Buddha crossed the Ganges and the Lichavins got together and all Lichavins welcomed the Buddha. So the Buddha traveled from the Magadha kingdom to the Vaisali kingdom, Lichavins kingdom. At the very moment when the Buddha stepped the Buddha's foot on the ground of the other shore, all of a sudden, it started to rain, huge thunder and a huge rain. It was a horrible rain and flooded, and all dead corpses and all dirties and impurities from the road just flowed down to the rivers, and the path was clear. After quite a long time, they had this rain. It was marvelous. The people, having seen, they had much faith in the Buddha. However, gradually, Buddha and Venerable Sangha monks just traveled from the Ganges River to the Vaisali city. Then what the Buddha did there? Buddha advised Venerable Ananda, just learn these Jewel Sutta, Ratana Sutta. Because Ratana Sutta is comprised, and Ratana Sutta has the quality of the Buddha, the Dhamma, and Sangha. It does not speak anything historical things, and does not speak and also relate to any other worldly matters. The Ratana Sutta, that means Jewel Sutta, speaks only about the supreme noble qualities of the Buddha. Supreme noble pure qualities of the Dhamma. And supreme pure qualities of the noble Sangha. Other than these three, there is nothing included in this sutta. So the Buddha determined it is power to exist and to affect not only this world, the human world. It is very effective and powerful even in the Deva world. If you have gone to Deva world and four great kings dwell, the Chatur Maharajika, and after that Tavatinsa, where the king Sakka, the king of gods, the Sakka governs, and also further up, Yam, Tusita, and Nimmarati, Paranimita Vasavati. And if you have gone and to these any world, any divine world of this list, or Brahma world, if you chant this sutta, Jewel Sutta, Ratana Sutta, its effects and also the power will hugely work for you. Not only that, you can travel out of this planet and in whatever direction. Just determinedly just chant that, it will affect you. And such a strong and power included in it. Buddha determined such power and power to spread there. So the Buddha advised Venerable Ananda to chant that Jewel Sutta, the Ratana Sutta, in order to just dispel the negative energy from negative energy of evil spirits from the city and villages and in suburb. So in 7 consecutive days, Venerable Ananda and Venerable Sangha chanted this sutta, and Buddha started. And for continuously 1 week time, the Buddha and the Venerable monks chanted this sutta. And the qualities of the Buddha, qualities of the Dhamma and Sangha, and also the evil spirit could not bear, and they cannot be with this powerful sutta and chanting. And also the Buddha's compassion, kindness, they could not be, they could not stay there any longer. They just quickly disappeared for their protections because it was burning. They had the evil spirits had the kind of burning type of feeling when they heard these things, because they came to the city, and even though people could not see physically, because they caused people to die, and also they just like that the dead corpses. They came to the city to harm people, animals, and human beings. So because of the Buddha's power, they could not stay there any longer. they quickly ran away and disappeared. And the Buddha continuously chanted this Jewel Sutta, Ratana Sutta, blessing all the citizens and Lichavins for their well-being and happiness and good health and protection. And also the Buddha advised Venerable Ananda to sprinkle water up and down and also around the city especially. So and especially around the villages, around the city and places especially. So as guided and advised by the Buddha, Venerable Ananda and Venerable other monks did so. After that, the country just turned to the positive atmosphere and good atmosphere, and it was changed. So having seen this change, having seen this bliss from the Buddha, the people and the countrymen, they became quite pleased and happy about the Buddha's visit to the country. Then after that, Buddha did not have any place to live there, because this is not previously long-term arranged, formally arranged one. This is all of a sudden the Buddha got invitation from Lichavins. That is why Buddha made visit to this country with the 500 monks, and the Buddha did not stay there any longer. After 7 days, Buddha turned back to travel back to Rajagir again. The king Bimbisara was waiting for the Buddha to come back the other shore of the Ganges River. And after a few days, the Buddha just went back to the river and the Ganges, river Ganga, and crossed the river with by ships. And again, King Bimbisara welcomed the Buddha and venerable monks. It was not just a walking, just traveling. And the Buddha was venerated, and the Buddha was offered with flowers and perfumes and decorations. It was doubled after seeing the beauty and power of the Buddha, and also the power of chanting, because they were fortunate enough to receive such a blessing from the Buddha and the Sangha. So they became quite pleased and happy, hugely. So then they arranged double offering to the Buddha and Sangha when the Buddha turned back to travel to Rajagir. It happened there. Not only from human beings, this offering came to the Buddha and Sangha. They was also involved there. Having the Sakka, the king of gods, having seen how people just got together and organize such a beautiful and huge decorations and respect to the Buddha. The devas also just descended down to the earth, and also they arranged something else from their side. Having heard this news, Brahmas also came down. And even though the human beings could not see it with their physical eyes, but the other arahants and those who have psychic abilities and psychic powers, and the Buddha could see them. So the Sakka and divine beings and Brahmas all came down to just offer a huge respect and flowers and canopies and umbrellas, flags and everything to the Buddha. It's like a divine world, divine road just created on earth. People could see that. Human beings could see that. Having seen them, they became amazed. They had such a huge, pleasurable thoughts and respect and veneration to the Buddha. So in due course, in the few days' time, the Buddha went back to the Ganges. From there, the next 5 leagues, the Buddha traveled with other monks and went back to Rajagiri. And also the Buddha resided there in Veluvana monastery. So the tour was over. And it was, I think, within 1 month, the Buddha and the monks went to travel to Vaisali and offered the spiritual energy and spread the Dhamma power there. And not only that, because the Buddha planted the Dhamma seeds in Vaisali kingdom. And the people just had faith. Not only that, Buddha taught Dhamma to those people. They became, some people understood and realized Dhamma as well. It's a huge gathering, the huge meeting, that Jewel Sutta meeting. So something happened after the tour was over. Monks just gathered together in different places. It was in the Veluvana monastery. They started to talk about the tour to Vaisali and how the Buddha was venerated and respected and offered with so many offerings, items, and dana, and various things. How that king, the king of gods, Shaka, came down to respect the Buddha. How Brahmas appeared. In this way, so many beautiful and things happened and occurred in front of them. So monks start talking about these things. So the Buddha, having heard this, just went to them. And also the monks also wanted to know from the Buddha. They talk about the Buddha's glorious glory, the Buddha's omniscient power, the Buddha's knowledge. They thought to themselves that it is due to the Buddha's noble power, noble quality, the Buddha happened to receive such things. It is due to the Buddha's power. It is due to the Buddha's knowledge, the glory and reputation, that all those gods and Brahmas came down to respect to the Buddha. That is what the monks, just normal monks, normally just worldly monks, just talk about. So then the Buddha later taught that, first the Buddha was asked by the venerable monks. So then Buddha told monks, these offerings, these decorations, this huge respect with various kinds of decoration and things, it's not because of the Tathagata's power. It is not the kind of thing. It is a wholesome result that the Bhodisatva performed a good karma in his previous births. Because the Buddha received this much of respect, the divine and human respect, and every kind of things came to the Buddha because of his past karma. Not evil karma, is wholesome karma. Having heard these couple of words and phrases from the Buddha, the monks were curious to know what happened, to know what that karma was that Bodhisattva performed. You see, just as ordinary people, if we see these kind of things, we also tend to just decide, okay, this is a Buddha's power. This is the omniscience power. This is the psychic ability. This is the psychic power of the Buddha and Arahants. That's how we just turn to think. But the Buddha could just define it and clearly understand the difference between karmic results and the Buddha's omniscient power and psychic power. So Buddha wanted to define and clearly explain, this is not because something happened because of the Tathagata's power, Tathagata's strength, Tathagata bal. This is because of previous wholesome karmic energy. So the monks asked, Venerable Sir, what is the reason? What is that karma performed by the Bodhisattva in his previous birth to just achieve such a blessing in this very life? So then the Buddha started just explaining and discovering, revealing the hidden past in front of them. Then the Buddha said, monks, it was something like this. In the Tathagatas, in my previous Parami grounds, in Parami journey, in one birth, I was born as just a human being and a Brahmin. In that birth, my name was Sankha. I was known and as a Sankha Brahmin, Brahmin Sankha. In that birth and existence, I had a son. I named him as Susim. And my son, Susim, grew up to the young age. When he was 14, 15, 16, that, the teenage, as a teenage, he was sent to Varanasi, that education center, like universities today, to get educated. That is purpose. So father's village, it was far away from Varanasi. Varanasi is the very famous city for all products and businesses and various kind of happiness people can enjoy, and educations as well. It's like Savatthi in the Buddha's time. Varanasi was famous. I think it is the only living city from the historically living city. Even today we can find that. You see that in Sri Lanka, we had Anuradhapura. That's a kingdom, that's a city. Polonnaru is also a famous city. But these are gone. These are dead cities. But these, Polonnaru, Anuradhapura, you see that Italy and Rome, they had a very famous city called Pompeii. It is gone. But you see, think of that city, Varanasi. Varanasi is a historical city, historical kingdom, but still alive, still functioning and working. So the king, the Brahmin Sankha sent his only son to the city for education. He was very well known. He was very well, intuitive and quick to understand, quick-witted and knowledgeable boy. Within short period of time, that boy, the Susima, the son of the king of Brahmin Sankha, got educated. It is not just a modern study type of things, but it's a Vedas. The three Vedas are the topic. Three Vedas are subject. Then no long time, he just got everything what he should. Ultimately, he went to the teacher, his master, the professor, and asked, my teacher, I can see that the beginning of this study, beginning of Vedas are there. And my teacher taught me the beginning of these scriptures, beginning of these Vedas. And also how these Vedas are just functioning and existing now. It is also my teacher taught me. But in this study, you did not teach me the ending part. Where can I end? Where can I find the finishing part, the ending part of this study? Then the teacher told that, yes, my dear son, my dear pupil, this is exactly true. I also know only the beginning of these Vedas and also the present status, situations and present condition of this study and also the Vedas, how it works for the community and how people and also the teachers and students are just dealing with these subjects. But I do not know the end of this study, end of this Vedas. So the boy was curious and wanting to know the end of this study, end of this subject, the end of this topic, end of these Vedas. At that time in the world, not the Buddha's time, the Buddha's period, there were private Buddhas appeared in the world. From time to time, the private Buddhas went down to villages for food. So the teacher told the boy, my son, Susima, those private Buddhas, they are sages. They know the end of these subjects, the end of these Vedas. They are the only people, only person, only sages who can see and understand the end of this world, end of these Vedas, and end of everything. So the boy Susima wanted to know the end of this everything. Having had permission from the teacher, the Susima, the student, his father was away. Father's living in his native village. It's far from Varanasi. It's a Taksila, somewhere else. But this is happening in Varanasi, the education center. So the teacher, the professor, sent this boy Susima to private schools. So with huge and great interest of learning the end of subject, the Susima, the boy, young boy, went to see private Buddhas. Having gone to them paid respect, the Susima, the young boy, asked, Venerable Sir, Venerable Sir, do you know the end of this world, end of these studies, end of this subject, and end of this everything? The private Buddhas told him, yes, we know that. We know the end of the world, end of everything. Then he invited the Buddhas. Then Venerable says, please teach me. I beg you, please teach me. The private Buddhas told him that, yes, you can learn. We teach you the end of the world, end of this subject, end of this Vedas, everything. If you just change your life as we are, change your lives, become monk. During that times, that monk's order was not there, because monk's order starts and begins into the world only during the Buddha's time. Once the Buddha appeared to the world, then only the Sangha appeared. Sangha just comes to the world as disciples of the Buddha. But during the private Buddha's time, no Sangha order, only the private Buddhas just live as sages in the world. So just our private Buddhas, Pacheka Buddhas asked him to just wear robes and also hold the bowls in certain way that monks do. So, and also private Buddhas trained him to just walk peacefully. So this change happened to that Susima, the boy, because of interest of education, because he wanted to learn the end of the world. He does not know any nirvana or anything, but he wanted to know and understand and realize the end of everything. Private Buddhas knew that, end of everything. So after some times, it's not months and so long time, but within short period of time, just when he was walking mindfully, talking mindfully, just doing everything mindfully, physical, verbal, then all of a sudden, his parami energy came up to the surface to ripen and to give its results. And also he's a very fortunate and a huge power he had, and he became private Buddha as other venerable Pracheka Buddhas. So now this young boy is a private Buddha, Pacheka Buddha, young Pacheka Buddha. But his father still does not know what happened to his son. Because father is still in the idea and thought of that my son was going to come back. That's how, because he promised, I get educated and come back. Father was waiting for his son to come back to his village. It didn't happen so. The father, Brahmin Sankar, having a curiosity, wanted to know what happened to his own son. So, to find and to see his son, the Brahmin Sankar just traveled to Varanasi, to that city where that education center located. And on his way, he saw a group of people are there. Then the Brahmin Sankar went to that group of people. Something had happened there. So, what happened? This private Buddha Susima just became private Buddha, but his life was not so long. Within a short period of time after becoming private Buddha, he passed away. He died. He passed away into Nibbana. So the other private Buddhas, Pacheka Buddhas, got together and respectfully cremated his body, and also having relics from that fire, and caused people to build a stupa in respect of that small private Buddha Susim. Even though physically he was a little and young boy and a young Pachek Buddha, but spiritually, in terms of the virtues and concentration and Dhamma, he was a great Pachek Buddha. So the other private Buddhas and people of the city and village, they just got together and cremated the body, and having relics from the fire, they built a Dagaba pagoda and for to create the to keep the relics there and also to venerate. That is the time his father, the Brahmin Sankar, visited that place. He did not know what was going on. The Brahmin Sankar asked some of the people there, I am Brahmin Sankar. I'm living in that village. I'm traveling from afar to see my only son. My son's name is Susim. He came to here for education, and after he just left home, I did not see him. I want to see him. That is why I have come. People didn't realize that what happened. So then people said, oh, dear father, it's sad to say that that boy, the Susima, he was well versed and he became thoroughly educated. He studied everything from his teacher and school. After that, he wanted to learn the end of the world, end of everything. Then, with the purpose of learning that part, he became a monk. And after that, he was in the course of learning from private Buddhas. Ultimately, he became a private Buddha, the great sage. But unfortunately, even though he became a private Buddha, Pacceka Buddha, he realized the ending part of the world, but he passed away recently. We cremated his body and also we took his relics and we placed the relic respectfully in this pagoda, the Dagaba, and this is where we just gather. So having heard these words from those people, the Brahmin Sankar became quite sad. He lamented, he cried and cried and cried for his own son. He was waiting for his son to go back to his born village. His father was waiting for him to come back. He was waiting for to welcome his only son. But something happened the other way. But the father happened to just leave his village and to go to Varanasi in search of his own son. But on the way, he heard something else very sad. So having learned everything from people and also the private Buddhas and for the people, so he thought to himself, my son is a sage. My son became a private Buddha, Pacceka Buddha. So I respect him. I pay my respect to my private Buddha, the Susima. So having that faithful thought, the Brahmin Sankar just took his upper garment, that Utrusalu, and also just erected it as a flag to respect the private Buddha, the Pacceka Buddha Susi. Then he took some sands and scattered everywhere around the pagoda, the Dagaba. And he picked flowers and respected place in order to pay his respect to the son Pacheka Buddha. And in this way, he took some water and sprinkled there, and he just did so many things at that time to pay his respect and veneration and offering to the private Buddha, Pacheka Buddha, Susim. Then after that, having lamented and cried loudly, and having offered all the flowers and things, having offered his own upper garments, Uttur Salu, to the pagoda as a flag to respect it, the Brahmin Sanka went back to his village. So the Buddha, sitting on the seat peacefully, the Buddha taught these venerable monks, and the Buddha revealed his history. The Buddha revealed hidden part of his parami lives, one of the parami lives, not everything, a little bit. So the Buddha told those monks, I just had all the venerations, the respect, offerings from devas, brahmas, and human beings, not because of the Buddha's, Tathagata's omniscient power. It's not because of the Buddha's, the extraordinary power, supreme power, and meditative power. It is not the Buddha's Tathagata, 10 Tathagata balas and the supernatural powers. This is the result of what the Bhodisatva practiced in his previous births. You see how clearly the Buddha described the separate qualities and the features of the results of karma and Buddha's ability of showing psychic powers. Buddha never showed psychic things there. It is a psychic kind of things came to the Buddha from his own good wholesome karma performed in one of his previous existences. So just having revealing these things, having describing these things, the Buddha, having described these things to the monks, Buddha clearly showed that monks, this is how we should perform good karma. And also here, we should understand clearly the karmic practice can be karma, you can practice in two different ways. One karmic practice is when you are going to perform wholesome kamma by way of offering dana to venerable monks or by observing sila and also practicing meditation on the basis of any topic, does not matter. But when you just perform wholesome things, just watch your mind. In what way? Watch your mind to understand what is the reason for you to perform and practice these wholesome things. Are you going to enjoy its results in samsara, or are you just trying to get rid of samsara? You see the difference between these two, you have to understand. If you just perform and practice good wholesome things to enjoy its results in future births, it is called Agami Karma. Agami Karma, Agami means you want to travel along the samsara, and also meanwhile you want to enjoy its results. That is a Agami. And karma performed for enjoying and traveling to travel around the world, to travel in samsara. What Agami Karma? The second one is you can perform, you can practice good deeds and dana and observe sila, practice meditation, just go to sacred places, pay your respect, venerate venerable monks, perform good karma. And also just have a determination and resolve that you want to get out of this samsaric journey. And also each and every time when you perform good karma, wholesome karma, you have to make an aspiration. You should make a strong aspiration to realize the Four Noble Truths and get out of this samsaric journey and attain Nibbana. Attaining Nibbana means you get out of this traveling in samsara. This is called Vivattagami Karma. Vattagami and Vivattagami. You just practice karma to travel on the samsara. You may practice karma to get out of this samsara. So two different things. The Bodhisattva just paid his respect to that pagoda of Venerable Pacceka Buddha Susim. And also the Bodhisattva's only aim, only target, only purpose of performing these kind of good wholesome thing is to attain, to realize the Four Noble Truths and to attain the omniscient Buddhahood and omniscient knowledge and supreme knowledge, to realize the world, how this world system functions and rotates, and also how this world exists, how it changes, how the essenceless this world. So that is what the Buddha wanted to realize as Bodhisattva. And also Buddha practiced generosity that way, and also just observe sila in supreme way, and left and practice abandonment. That means giving up things, renunciation in excellent way. So the Buddha energized his life in various ways. We call it Karmic practice. Ultimately, Buddha achieved everything. Buddha gained, Buddha achieved everything what he wished for in his previous existences. And also see how fortunate the Buddha was. How was that blessing the Buddha had from various divine beings, Brahmins and kings, and also the country people. The Buddha showing his good fortune to other people. The Buddha traveled from Rajagir to Vaisali to just create a peaceful environment of Lichavi Prince's kingdom, to enjoy them. And that is the result. That is why later, the lot of people started turning towards the Buddha, listen to the Buddha Dhamma, and also they realized Four Noble Truths. There were so many Aryans in Lichavi kingdom. Ambapali is a courtesan, is one of the devoted people of that kingdom. And also later, Lichavi people, Lichavins, the princes, in respect to the Buddha, they built a huge stupa and also vihara to the Buddha and Sangha. It is called Utagara. Utagara Vihara. That was built in Lichavin's kingdom, Vaisali. And you see the difference between the wholesome results of good karma performed by the Bodhisattva in his previous existences and also the Buddha's power. You see, the Buddha received that much of respect when he was traveling to Lichavi kingdom. On the other hand, you see how it was when the Buddha traveled to Sakyan kingdom. It's a far away. The Buddha had to travel further up north to reach his born village. But what happened there? It was not a famine, and also it was not a plague. The Buddha was invited by King Suddhodana. A messenger just was sent to the Kaludai, the minister, was sent to the Buddha to invite him, the Buddha, to make a visit to Sakyan kingdom. But ultimately, the Buddha did that. But what happened? The Buddha's own relatives, Sakyans, they were quite arrogant. They were quite egoistic, arrogant, proud. They did not go to pay their respect to the such a strong ego they had. So that is why the Buddha happened to show the psychic powers, psychic, display psychic things in order to just destroy their egoism, their pride, their arrogance, their conceit. You see how it is different. You see how the Buddha played his psychic abilities with Buddha Anubhava. But here it is quite different. The Buddha gained everything from his own good karma. That is why I just chose this topic today to talk about the karma and Buddha's psychic ability. I believe that you must have gained something important from this description, from the Buddha's life, and also from the journey, the Buddha's journey, then tour from Rajagir to Vaisakh. Even today, we chant the Jewel Sutta to have a protection and safeguard, and also a blessing, as a huge blessing for every one of us. So now, I, as advised, instructed by the Buddha, I just think of the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Beauty of the Dhamma, beauty of the Sangha, beauty of the good qualities of the Buddha, and power of the good qualities of the Buddha, power of the noble qualities of the Dhamma and Sangha, and also the inexplainable energy that comes from the Jewel Sutta, Ratana Sutta. I wish you all the best, protection, safeguard, good health, and also peaceful mind, and also positive energy, wholesome energy to understand this Dhamma, and also practice Dhamma in your life, and also to just get rid of whole lot of demeritorious thoughts and unwholesome thoughts from your life. Meanwhile, purifying your thoughts, understanding Dhamma in your life, as described and explained by the Buddha. Finally, deeply understanding the Four Noble Truths, clearly understand the super natural Dharma, and also the Lokottara Dharma. Ultimately, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. May you attain Nibbana. Thank you very much.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Yes. Do you have anything? Oh, now 9:15. So I'm very happy to just share something with you from the Buddha's teaching from time to time. And here I'm a bit busy because of this COVID-19 restrictions. People cannot travel. They are undergoing so many difficult things in their life, household life. Sometimes even today, I had the news of a death person, and tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I have to dedicate my time. There's a life. You see, unexpected things come to us. So therefore, I'm busy, but occasionally I can have time free. So then I can share and teach some Dhamma for your well-being and happiness. Dr. Lalit and Mrs. Fern just mentioned the sutta called Anatta Lakkana Sutta. In future, we can take it up. So thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Okay, thank you,
Sadhu,
Sukhihoto.
sadhu.
Thank you very much.
So nice to see you, Bhante,
Okay.
and thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you. Let's see you next time.